What's going on, everybody? It's EricRayweather back here, helping you take your game to the next level. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 pro tips on defense to help take your defense to the next level in Madden 18. Now, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos and you want to improve your Madden game, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. Make sure to hit the bell icon so that you join the notification squad and never miss an upload. So what's up, guys? Like I said, today I'm going to be going over 5 defensive pro tips to really help improve your defense drastically overnight in Madden 18. If you're a more experienced player, or consider yourself an elite player, you probably know some of these, maybe all of them. If you're more of an intermediate player, casual player, you might not know all of these, and these are all little tricks that you can apply to your defense immediately to drastically improve your defense overall in Madden. So we're going to come out here and we're gonna cover a few very important things that you need to start doing. So the first one we're gonna cover is probably the most common thing. So we're gonna get this out of the way first. Most of you probably know this, but some of you still might not know this. So when running a Tampa 2, which is one of the most popular coverage shells in the game, and it has been for a couple years now, there's the only real main weakness to this defense is the deep middle of the field between both safeties. Last year this wasn't the case because the safeties didn't play the sideline so aggressive last year, but this year the safeties flare out really wide, so there's a lot of deep posts in the game that can split these safeties and pick up huge yardage, or worst case scenario, a lot of times, especially if you have a fast receiver, split the safeties and get a touchdown. So when you run a Tampa 2, the whole point is you want to really make them dink and dunk underneath, take hit sticks. You don't want to give up any huge gains, and the really only way to do this is the deep middle. So this mid-read zone in real life, this mid-read zone in a Tampa 2 would normally play further back. In Madden, against certain deep posts, certain formations, it doesn't always do that, so we need to manually make him do that ourselves. So what you want to do in a cover 2 is you always want to base align. In order to put this guy in a deep middle, you have to base align first. So you press wire triangle and then right on the left stick to base align. And then you want to put this guy in a deep blue. You press A or X and then up on the left stick, and that's going to put him in the deep blue. What's going to happen now is he is not going to let any deep posts split the safeties. He's going to stay back there. Now, you'll take either of these hook zones and use them now. Now, if you feel that this linebacker vacating the shallow middle, if you're not really that comfortable with that, then what you want to do is you can always take one of your defensive tackles and throw them in a spy, just to help cover some of that intermediate area of the field if you don't feel great about it. So to put a defensive tackle in a spy, you press A or X right on the left stick. But the main tip here is in a cover 2, you want to deep blue this middle linebacker. And I don't have any good linebackers on the Chargers, but typically you want a linebacker there that has 80+ zone just for best results. But you see now he drops back over that middle and he's there. As you see, he intercepts the deep post. If we didn't drop him back there, that would have been wide open. So that's one way to improve Tampa 2 immediately in Madden 18. Now number 2, what we want to talk about is, this is something else you're going to typically do out of pretty much only a cover 2, and it's the concept called double flatting. Now first I'm going to explain what happens if you don't double flat, and I don't recommend doing this every play. This is something you want to mix in. If you're playing people that are attacking you with a lot of high-low reads on the outside, specifically out of compressed sets like gun bunch or gun tight, single back deuce close, single back tight slots, which a lot of people do in Madden, this is when double flatting can come into play. So notice on the left outside we have Michael Thomas running the deep C route, which is basically just a corner route, and then Mark Ingram leaks out into the flat. On the right side of the field we have Josh Hill going to the flat, and then Brandon Coleman running his corner route. So the thing is, you typically can't defend both of these, the high and the low on the outside. A Tampa 2, for example, if we play standard, the cloud flats are going to defend the corner routes, usually leaving the flat routes open. If you play underneath, for example, hard flats, then the cornerbacks are going to play in the flat area but leave the corners open. So for example here, if we were to play a hard flat cover 2, you see Brandon Coleman is wide open. And I'm going to go to the replay really quickly to show you on the other side of the field, Michael Thomas is going to be wide open as well. So get on Michael Thomas here, you notice you see the cornerback stays down there with Mark Ingram because we told him to play underneath. And if we were to throw it here, you know, Michael Thomas is wide open. So now let's run it standard. And I never recommend playing cover 2 underneath. Always play it standard, because if you have really good zone coverage cornerbacks out there, they will defend the hard flat. Even in a cloud flat, they'll defend the hard flat decently. So never play it underneath. But just for example, if you're a little bit patient and you're playing standard coverage, you can see we just hit the flat route underneath for about 4 to 5 yards. Sometimes you get more than that out of it. If they're getting 4 to 5 yards of play, they're going to keep picking up first downs. So how you can combat this with double flatting? You have your cloud flats on the outside. You want to take 2 of your outside linebackers and put them in hard flats now. So over here, we'll take Perryman, put him in a hard flat. We do that by pressing A or X, and then left on the left stick. Then we'll go to the other side of the field, get our other outside linebacker, press A or X, left on the left stick. So now we have a cloud flat and a hard flat on both outsides of the field. So if they try to run a high-low read to either outside of the field, both the corners and the flats are going to be covered. You see? Nothing's open. Now, for whatever reason, the cornerback kind of like let Michael Thomas go a little bit, but we had to wait to the point that the safety was able to go over and get him. But I'm going to show you what happens over here. So you see over here, because we put that hard flat here, he's on Josh Hill, the tight end. And then the cornerback up here, 24, he's drifting back with the corner out. Over here, we have Perryman in the hard flat with Ingram. And then we have Hayward back here lurking. Now, he doesn't get quite deep enough because that's a really deep C route. But the thing is, you can't throw this C route. Like, you can't try to throw it right here, because Hayward's still a little bit too close. He's underneath and able to make that pick right when he cuts. So we have to wait till the point where it gets so far down the field that now the safety comes in and makes a play. So by putting hard flats and cloud flats on both outsides of the field, you can take away high-low reads on the sideline. Tip number 3. When you play a cover 3 defense, it is crucial to put your outside cornerbacks in deep halves. Why, do you ask, will we do that? Well, because cover 3 is the easiest coverage to bomb for a one-play touchdown. So notice how your cornerbacks play to the outside. You would think that's what you want, right? But there's too many cover 3 beaters in the game that can beat this coverage for a one-play touchdown. So what you want to do is take your outside cornerbacks, press A or X, and then you want to go right on the right stick where it says deep half. Now notice how that cover 3 plays. It's still a cover 3, but it's more inverted now. You want to do this on both sides of the field, or to whichever, if you know that they're trying to run a cover 3 beater to a certain side of the field, then you only have to do it to one side of the field. But if you want to be safe, you know, do it to both sides of the field. If you do this, no one will be able to bomb you in cover 3. Because previous plays in the game, if you're running a lot of cover 3 and your opponent sees that you're running a lot of cover 3, you know, most players will come out in their cover 3 one-play touchdown beater because they see that you've been running cover 3. But if you invert those cornerbacks on the outside, they're going to likely throw a pick or take a sack because it's going to be covered. So again, you go to your outside cornerbacks, you press A or X, and then right on the right stick if you want to run cover 3. This way, you still run a cover 3, but you prevent yourself from getting bombed for a one-play touchdown. Sticking with cover 3, tip number 4. You would think cover 3 would stop post routes, and typically it does because you have the deep safety in the middle. But there's certain post routes that do a good job at getting underneath the deep safety in a cover 3. Sometimes they're a little bit shorter post routes. Sometimes it depends on what set it's in. It could be like, you know, an example would be the halfback wheel post route out of gun split close. It does a really good job at getting underneath the deep zone free safety, especially if you don't have an elite safety there with 91 plus zone. So if you want to run cover 3, but you still want to make sure that you stop all post routes, pro tip number 4 is you want to take your deep safety, and this doesn't matter if it's a, you know, a regular cover 3 or if it's a cover 3 cloud. You know, there's different versions of cover 3, but you want to take your free safety and you want to walk him down to about linebacker depth. As long as he's decent speed, you're not going to get burned over the top or anything like that. But by pulling him down at linebacker depth, you're going to pretty much ensure that he gets under most post routes. So here we're going to run a post route at him actually. And you'll notice because we dropped him down, he's so much more underneath the receiver, and he's able to make the interception. Whereas if you were to just leave him, after this play is over, you can see, if we would just leave him back here, he's going to start at the snap of the ball. See, he's going to already start way back here. And then at the snap of the ball, he's going to start moving back. But when we bring him down here, at the snap of the ball, he still starts moving back. But by the time the post route gets to him, he's right here and he can jump it. Whereas if you didn't pull him down, by the time the post route gets there, he might be way back here, and he's just too far away to break on the ball. So bring that free safety down into about linebacker depth. You don't have to go all the way like this, all the way up here, but you know, just maybe right behind the linebackers, so he still has a little bit more depth than the linebackers. And when you try to throw those deep posts, more times than not, as you see, he's going to be underneath it every time because he's a lot closer to the post route. It's a lot less ground that he has to make up. And last but not least, we're going to talk about cross manning. Now, cross manning isn't something you're going to use this year like it was used last year. Whereas you could use it like every play last year. There's certain ways you can use it this year, and it can be beneficial in certain situations. Typically, you're going to want to use safeties when you cross man, because you, like for example, you can't take this cornerback right here and man him up to somebody on the right side of the field. You can only man him up to guys that are on his side of the field. Whereas last year, you could take somebody and man him up on any person on the field. Safeties, however, you can man them up on people that are on opposite sides of the field. So let's just say, you know, I think Michael Thomas is going to be running a slant route. Let's change the play here, and let's say I'm worried Michael Thomas is going to run a crossing route and find a hole in the zone. I can take my strong safety and man him up on him, so that when he's crossing over the middle of the field, my safety is going to like meet him right here and then start running with him to this side of the field. So to man him up, we will press A or X up on the right stick, and then we select Michael Thomas's icon. Now you see he's manned up on him, and this looks like, well, why would you man that guy up on him? You only do this if you expect this guy to run a crossing route. Maybe it's a drag, maybe it's a slant, maybe it's a deep crossing route that's a stock in the play. So by manning this guy up on him, now when Michael Thomas goes to run his slant, he's going to be right there to meet him. Now, he was on him pretty decently, got block shedded by Bosa there. You're going to want, typically when you do this, you're going to want a decent man coverage guy here, which is a die, might not be, I'm not sure if he is. But you're going to typically want a good man coverage guy there, someone, you know, in the 80s at least, so that he has the best results, somebody with good speed too. It's hard for me to actually show this because the defensive line is just block shedding like crazy here. But if I go to the replay, you're going to see what happens when Michael Thomas gets here. You see how the safety meets him at the midpoint, and then because he's manned up, he turns and starts running with them. So he's right on Michael Thomas's neck right now. And at this point, he's breaking off because I'm getting sacked in the backfield. But you see he's on Michael Thomas's neck because I cross-manned him. That's something you're not going to use as much this year as you would in years past, but it's definitely a tactic to go to. If someone is just killing you with a crossing route, try cross-manning him with a fast safety that has good man coverage, and you can pretty much, you know, eliminate the crossing route altogether. If it's something that someone keeps hitting you with, something very specific, try using that to take it away. So those are the 5 defensive pro tips. If you implement this into your game, some of these things that you're struggling with, you will struggle with no more, and it'll definitely improve your defense drastically overnight. If you guys enjoyed this video, as always, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.